Morning you guys, it's Karen and I'm here to talk about this. This is what I am calling a quiet book for dogs. It's a brain game, a treat dispensing toy, something to keep the dogs quiet, something to keep them amused, something that will tire them out from playing with it. And this all started because I started dabbling a few years ago in DIY toys for Watson because, you know, he needs a lot of mental stimulation. So I would use old clothes and, you know, try to figure out how I could make things that could be used as a brain game. I then kind of progressed to Kev bought me a sewing machine and I started buying bits of material and making things and have loved it ever since. I did look into selling the things that I make because I know that there's people interested in this, because I talked about this quiet book recently on Instagram and people were asking if I can make them and they would buy them. But the problem is the time that it took me is quite a while because I'm not a seamstress. This is a hobby for me. It's something that if you looked closely at this book you can see it's not professionally finished. There's, you know, it's a rough looking thing. And so, you know, I did this in my spare time. It probably took me a week or so, just spending time on it when I could, when I was sitting watching TV or something like that, you know. So it really, I'd have to sell it for like £50 to £100 or something to make it worth my while. And even then I wouldn't be happy to sell it because it's just not professionally finished enough. And I wouldn't be able to meet the demand, I don't think. But I've looked into every aspect of it. I looked into getting it manufactured abroad. I looked at trying to get a seamstress in the UK, which is, you know, almost impossible. And even then you'd have to have stock and it's just not an avenue I want to go down. But it is something that I do want dogs to enjoy, lots of different enrichment toys. So what I thought I'd do instead is write patterns for the toys that I make, and there's actually a name for them. I didn't know about this until somebody told me, but they're called instructables or printables, and you put them on Etsy. So it's basically a document whereby I have written down every step of the way of making this, exactly what material I used, the sizes of everything, step-by-step instructions, where to get the resources, and how to make it. And yeah, like I said, it's called a printable. This one is a quiet book printable and it will tell you how to make this book. You don't need to have a sewing machine. You could do it by hand. It would just obviously take you a bit longer. One of the advantages of making things yourself is that your dog will love it even more, because you will know that dogs love the scent of us. They love your socks. Not all dogs love socks, but a lot of them do. If not, they like to be near your feet. They like the scent of you. If you've touched the remote control, they might like the remote control. They might like your mobile phone. You know, these things are attractive to them because they smell of us. So imagine if you make something like this, it's covered in your scent. And so that's something that they will really appreciate. But let me just show you what this is. So I have made, this is my second one. The first one was very, very rough. And I was just kind of seeing if it was something I could do, and it didn't have the cardboard in it. I've put the cardboard in each page, but it's not a necessary step. If you don't put the cardboard in, you'll be able to chuck this in the washing machine. The front page I made into basically a snuffle mat, so it's just some rows of material, and this is really, really simple. You know, you just cut some strips of material and then cut them into a sort of frayed strip and sew them on, and you can just put little bits of, I put little bits of ham and stuff. So that is the front page, and I've put Watson on there, of course. The second page is what I've called twists. So it's just two bits of material, you sew them at the top, twist them over, sew them at the bottom, and then that is like one page. You know, you could even start off with just one page and see what your dog makes of it. Page 3, this is really simple as well. It's just little loops with a little, I made it double-sided because if you make these single-sided, it's harder for the dog to get. And I even put a little bit of ribbon on, so there's something for them to pull. You just put a treat in there, close it, put it through the loop, and then they have to pull these out. I was trying to make it just, you know, different ways of them having to do things. So that's snuffling, that's kind of snuffling, but in a different way. And this is having to pull things out. This one is just shapes. This is where you can really see my lack of experience as a seamstress, because it's really quite rough. You know, there's a little bit there that isn't sewn. My machine kept going wrong. I didn't know what was happening. But this is just, there's a little shape in there and you put treats in there, and then the same with this one, but it's the corners. So this one is really easy to do. You just put 2 pieces of material together, sew down there, sew across there, that's you done. You've got 4 little pockets. So that's that one. And then where are we going? This way. These I have, for the instruction, for the pattern for this, you'll find there's only 2, because this wasn't in my original book. This is Velcro, so the idea for them is that they can smell the treats are in there and they need to get hold of this and pull the Velcro off. There's not very much space here for treats. I do manage to put some in for Watson, but on the pattern that I made it into 2 bigger ones so that there'll be more space to put treats in. So he just has to pull those strips, 2 go that way and 1 go that way. And then the back page is just slip pockets. So it's just another way of snuffling out treats. They have to really figure out how to get that bit up and get their nose in there and get the treats. So this keeps Watson very occupied. He doesn't necessarily do it like a book. You know, he does sometimes snuffle in between, and you know, it doesn't really matter. And like I said, you could actually just use 1 page, like just make 1 page, especially if you don't have a sewing machine. You could just do 1 page and choose which one you think your dog will enjoy the most. If they are a beginner, probably the snuffle mat and something like the shapes I think would be good, or the slip pockets. So I will link that for you. It's on Etsy. It's about £4. I say I think because they add on an amount to what I put on. I don't know whether that's VAT or what it is, but I think I've put it as £3.99 and it's actually £4.30, something like that. So that gives you, like I said, the instructions, step-by-step instructions. It gives you links to where to buy the materials and all of the measurements, etc. So if you do make it, let me know how you get on. Tag me in any pictures, etc. And I will leave you with a video of Watson playing with this. I can't remember if I've showed you that before, so that you can see exactly how it works. This one.